Good morning, Turfs Up Radio. Wayne Voles, Profits Unlimited, coming to you live from Louisville, Kentucky.
Yes, indeedy.
Oh, my goodness. We got a great show planned today. We're going to have a very special guest with us today, as well as you guys being here and all your interaction. We got a great day going. Can you believe it's hump day? Here we are moving through another week. Hard to believe it's already July 9th. Time flies when you're having fun, right? So, hey, looking forward to y'all's input today, as always, on my show. My voice is a little bit crackly today. I apologize for that, but these allergies, man, have got me rocking and rolling. So, trying to get that figured out, but really nothing to figure out. Just we need all this allergy system to just roll through and be done for a little while. But I'm one of the people that it affects a little bit worse than others. So, but hey, you know what? If that's the worst thing that happens, it's a good day. It's a good day. Hope your week's off to a great start. I know ours is rolling pretty good here at Wayne's Lawn Service here in Louisville, and Profits Unlimited's rocking and rolling as always. But hope everybody showed up to work today and getting the job done for you. Hope you're getting the job done. That's right. Lead by example, right? Get the job done and make things happen, because that's what it's all about. Hey, speaking of making things happen, and I'm going to get my my special guest here on probably in about 6 minutes, 7 minutes. But special things happening. Aaron Walls. I want to give a big shout out to Aaron Walls, my buddy, who was won an award, and he got an award for being Business of the Month in Hancock County. So congratulations, Aaron. That's awesome. That's an awesome accomplishment, and I'm sure you worked hard for that. There ain't a doubt in my mind. So congratulations on that. I know it's always easier said than done to get something like that. Also, I wanted to give my buddy Sean a shout out. Seth, good morning. Uh, let's see. Oh my God, Seth. That's funny. Appreciate you listening, Seth. But I want to give my buddy Sean Soroy a big shout out in Winter Garden, Florida, for winning best of the best local landscaping companies down there. I saw that on his social media page. So looks like we got a lot of talented people listening to us here on Turfs Up Radio. Appreciate you guys and all your interaction. Seth sent me a good text this morning already. He said he had a dream last night he was buying a new mower. So he woke up and fixed a bowl of cereal. So I don't know. We'll see what that's all about. But hey, we are looking really forward to a great day today, and hopefully your week's been really good for you. And I'm really looking forward to getting Mr. Ogawa on my show today. He's going to give us a call here in about 5 minutes, and he's coming to us all the way from the West Coast. So early out there. So Aaron Walls, you think you got it early in your time zone? Mr. Ogawa is coming to us all the way from California in the West Coast. So appreciate that. Oh my, Aaron, look at that. Aaron's hard at it. Got a picture there he just sent me of his lawnmower rocking and rolling today. A little grass on it and little notes. So yeah, I tell you what, Aaron, it's for you and Sean and anybody else that's the accolades that you get. Just remember that, you work hard for those, and be sure to let your customers know about that, because the reality of it is, yeah, maybe somebody else could win, will win, and, in the future will win, but you have accomplished that goal. It was like for us, back in, I think it was 2008 we won best of Kentuckiana, they call it. That was one thing we got, and then we also that was local honorarium here that we got, and also we received a top 10 small lawn business through Landscape Management Magazine uh, back in the mid 2000s. So, it's always fun to get those things. You work hard, you get up, you work hard every day, and your team works hard every day, regardless of the size of it. And, whether you're a one truck operation or a multi crew company, it takes a lot to make it happen. And, you guys are making it happen. And even you guys that aren't, that I didn't give a shout out to, that, hey, didn't get an award or whatnot, know that you're doing what a lot of people wish they could do, and that is to own and operate their own business. And that's a little bit about what we're going to talk about with Mr. Ogawa. And super nice guy. I had an opportunity to speak to him a little bit at the expo, and looking forward to our conversation that we're going to have today. So, with that being said, we're going to take a short break before he hops on and gives us a call, and we'll be right back. All right. Mr. Ogawa.
Good morning.
How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing excellent. How are you doing?
Great. I appreciate you hopping on my show with me here on Turfs Up Radio, my friend.
Oh, absolutely, Wayne. I appreciate the opportunity.
Oh, yeah. And, it's really is a great opportunity to get somebody like yourself on our show and for our listeners, because I'm sure we're going to have a big conversation about not only what you guys do, but the industry as a whole. And
Yeah.
what you guys see happening in all over the world, I guess, right? But
Yeah.
certainly on the West Coast the rules are a little bit different than they are over here on the East Coast and in the middle. And I'm looking forward to your input on that. Quite honestly.
Oh, yeah. Happy to share it. And it's the wild, wild west over here, with legislation kind of going back and forth. But ultimately, just trying to really solve problems out here, and trying to help landscapers just build a business to be more scalable and successful.
Right. Well, I appreciate that. I've got a brief bio I just want to read for my listeners, if that's okay with you.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
so just Corey, appreciate you tuning in as well. So we got several guys already text in saying they're looking forward to our conversation today, Mr. Ogawa. So
Okay.
little background on Mr. Ogawa is he's the CEO and owner of Gardenland Power Equipment, which was established in 1960, and they're a premier outdoor power equipment dealership in Northern California. And he's also the CEO and co-founder of TOWA Industries, is what we're going to talk a whole lot about today. And that company was established in 2020. And Mr. Ogawa has over 20 years experience as a C-suite and entrepreneurial expertise in the market. And, that's awesome. And I sincerely do mean that for you guys listening to us today. You're not only getting somebody that's really great at what they're doing, but they've got a lot of experience and a lot of family experience. And we will talk about that as well. But under Mr. Ogawa's tenure, they've grown Gardenland Power Equipment into a $13 million business and being rated as a number one outdoor power equipment retailer in Northern California. So without further ado, Mr. Ogawa, I hope that was okay.
That was better than I could ever do. So I appreciate the introduction.
Oh, see, but hey, it's always fun to introduce somebody that's a down to earth person. And I know, from our brief conversation we had at the expo, as well as what I've know about you and I've heard about you from Darren Gruner and Carissa. You're a very down to earth person. And I saw also doing a little bit of research and homework on my own. I understand that you grew up in the green industry as the son of a landscaper.
I did. My dad came from Japan, and there's not too many businesses where you can start with just a handful of equipment with a fairly minimal investment and kind of start your own business. And that's what my dad did. And I worked with him, and he used to drag me out of bed at 4 or 5 in the morning.
Yeah.
And then you just got used to using tools and it just hitting the ground, right? And then eventually he started just complaining about the quality of tools, especially like pruning shears and fine shears. So he started importing them from Japan, and then his buddy started buying them from the back of his truck, which eventually led to him opening his own outdoor power equipment dealership.
So
So that's how I got into the.
and so you've been in California that entire time then. So is that
Yes,
correct?
yes, that's correct. Yep.
Okay. And,
Yeah.
it's funny. I use the word funny. I don't know if that's the right word or not, but I run into a lot of equipment dealers that
Mhm.
have the experience in the landscape industry as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
And actually, quite honestly, I had contemplated that many years ago of, okay. And we've got a great dealer network here in my market here in Kentucky,
Yeah.
but
Yes,
still,
absolutely.
that ran across my mind that, hey, what could we do different and better? And you guys have certainly figured out what can you do different and better in a big way for the industry. And I understand you guys have been doing the battery tools at your dealership for what, 12 plus years now?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Eh,
Yeah. So we kind of pivoted our business about 12 years ago because we really saw the consumer side of the battery market really going quickly in the consumer side. And so we pivoted our business to really focus on the commercial side because there was a huge gap. And we had, being here in the Silicon Valley area, we had a lot of tech companies like Apple, Google, Facebook. All those guys are already mandating 13 years ago that they didn't want any gas equipment on their properties. Right. And back then, there just wasn't really high quality commercial grade equipment out there. So there was these really huge gaps of product. And that's really what helped us kind of really hone in with manufacturers and vendors to really come up with really good commercial grade quality products.
Now, have
Um,
you all transitioned out of the service side of it from providing landscaping services, or do you all still have a crew as well as the dealership and TOWA tools?
yeah, so right now we don't have the landscaping side of it.
Okay.
We're purely an outdoor car equipment dealership. And what we're focused on now is expanding our dealership and really kind of focusing on battery technology and robotics. Those are the two key areas of focus for us, which we think are going to be very impactful areas for landscapers in the future.
Yeah, I saw on your all's website, I believe, also that you guys have a whole showroom that's dedicated to the technology side, right, of robotics and battery. And
Absolutely. So, our feeling right now is that we changed our showroom to be much more of a consultative type of showroom. So it's really an open format. We have literally booths of every vendor here with their programs. And it's really just a way for us to invite in our customers and consult with them on what their needs are, right? And what are the challenges that they're going to face as they transition from this gas to battery transition. And we find that in this kind of environment, this kind of way to do it and present it has been a lot more helpful in educating our landscape partners onto what the really pluses and minuses are in transitioning. And I think that's really important for people to really kind of first understand is what are you trying to accomplish? What are you trying to do? How quickly do you want to do transition? And then in our 10 plus 12 years experience, here's all the pitfalls you want to avoid, or here are some of the things that we'd recommend to prevent things that you may bump into, like charging infrastructure. That became an issue very early on for us. And because there was such a gap and there was no one really addressing that issue, we started TOWA back in 2020 to provide kind of these infrastructure charging solutions.
Well, I understand all you guys, I mean, during this transition, of selling the equipment first and then saw the next problem of, hey, how are guys going to charge all these batteries? Then you start at the TOWA side TOWA tools. In California specifically, I guess you guys saw the need there before we saw it in a lot of other parts of the country, right? And
Yeah, so the trend that we've been seeing here on the California side was, obviously the number one, a lot of people talk about the environmental impacts and all that, but really the thing that really drove the adoption out here in California, the real thing that kind of made people switch was noise, right? And the blower being the number one kind of issue, right? And so that really drove a lot of people to go to battery, right? Because they wanted something quieter, right? And that I think was part of the push in that we've seen, at least in a lot of local ordinances, banning gas blowers was the thing that kind of triggered a lot of this stuff, right? And So what we started finding out is blowers take the most amount of battery and the most amount of juice, and and again, you get how do you charge those things up? And that's really where we started honing in on focusing on how do we provide some charging infrastructure. The other big piece, and if you're a landscaper, you're used to a brand agnostic world, right? Like most landscapers like the Echo PV770 blower, for example. That's the go-to blower, right? They might have the go-to hedge trimmer, their chainsaws. They might like their go-to steel product, right? So
Right.
it was very easy for a landscaper to pick the brands and the tools specific what they like, right? But now in this battery platform world, it's all about buying a battery platform, right? So you see this aggressive marketing of different manufacturers really trying to win the platform. And it's a hard decision now for a landscape company because now you have to go all in on one brand or the other, right? And
Right.
it's hard to find a brand that inclusively does everything really, really well, right? And there's lots of manufacturers trying to expand their breadth and their reach, and there's some that are really good at handheld stuff, and there's some that are very good at ZTRs and riders, right? And it's hard to find a company that does it all well, right? Including the charging infrastructure.
Right.
So I
What
think it's just a big choice, right? That you got to make now as a landscaper.
what do you see? What do you see in your area specific, and then we'll look at it at a much broader scale as well. But um, is it the 1 to 2 truck operations that are you're saying? Is it the smaller operations that are more resistant to the change going to battery as a whole, or are you saying the larger, the top 100 companies, let's say, that are saying, yes, this is going to be an investment, but it's going to be an investment in sustainability, for our company.
Yeah, I think initially we thought the transition would be easier for the 1, 2 truck guy. But then what we've seen lately is the trend has been national landscape companies that are now committing a certain mandate as a company, like we're to be 100% battery, right? So we're seeing a lot of the top 100 landscape companies saying we're going to commit 10% of our fleet to electrification.
Okay.
We are definitely seeing that trend and push now happening because once people start understanding the ROI of battery, and typically we see that return on investment somewhere in the 15 to 2 year range. They're starting to see that at that point they're making money off the product, right? The product is now paying for itself. And it's a very hard concept to get to because you're kind of prepaying all your gas up front with battery equipment, and people don't truly have a measurement of how much gas they're using, how much fuel they're using, how much they're spending on maintenance, right? And the companies that have figured that metric out are clearly seeing the ROI of just converting to 100% battery.
It's just getting past that initial sticker shock, if you will, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah,
I know
exactly.
we've done some numbers with Crest, for an example, and well, that's what is so cool about your all's product is you take any brand and the charging system, the power management system works with it. But
Yeah,
on that return on investment is a reality, and that's what I think a lot. I could see where that is a big challenge from your all's end, and
yeah,
just and all the manufacturers of the equipment, the trimmers, the blowers, the mowers, and whatnot,
yeah.
convincing somebody that the return on the investment is there. But because they don't know their cost per hour of operation and the amount of fuel that they're really uh, going through, number one, but the maintenance and repairs because of the fuel, if you
Yeah,
if
absolutely.
you will, um,
And,
and
and we've definitely seen that impact as a dealership, right? Now dealing with commercial battery for the last 12 years, we've definitely seen an impact to our parts margin going down, our labor margins going down. Because of the efficiencies of battery, there's a lot less maintenance and parts required, right? So we've definitely seen the impact of that to our stores. So, I think the other important thing is when you're a landscape company, you're thinking about converting, you may not want to do 100% conversion right away. You may want to say, hey, let's just start with all our handheld stuff,
well, that's
right?
what I was going to
And
ask you. Is that what you guys are saying? Where the guys will, because that's actually where we're at with our business, and that's
yeah,
is we're looking at the okay. Let's take all of our 2 cycle stuff and convert it first.
yeah,
It's not that we don't trust in the larger equipment, but it's just
yeah.
that seems like an easier transition.
Yeah. No, that typically is what we see, that people like that easier transition. They want to get rid of the loud, noisy equipment, right? Again, your blower is one of your key components of that. But what you really want to do is try to find a system that can scale with how you change and progress your business, right? And that's really why we came out with our TOWA PDM. It's a simple one product appliance that you can use, brand agnostic. So if you wanted to use you like steel line trimmers and their handheld stuff, you can do the steel. And if you like the Echo product or the blower, you can use their electric blower, right? Whatever you like, you can use with this brand agnostic tool. The beauty of it is you're not all in, right? Like, it's not like you're investing in a proprietary charging system that only works with their product,
Right.
right? And so if you decide, hey, I'm going to change my mind, or I'm going to change my direction, you got to replace all your charging infrastructure, right? And that's where we're trying to provide a universal charging infrastructure that allows you to get into the business, and it can scale up and down, because everything we do is modular. It starts with a piece, and you can add another piece, and you can keep expanding it as you need it. But you don't have to rebuild and reconstruct the whole thing if you decide to switch brands.
Yeah.
Right.
And for our listeners that are out there, I want you guys to kind of visualize, if you would, what Mr. Ogawa was saying and telling you. You almost have to look at it to appreciate it on their website to see the simplicity of their charging or their power management system. On these modules they're each individually very thin. It's not like a big cumbersome charging unit like you see on some products, right? And I'm not talking bad about a product or any particular brand, but it seems your all's looks very sleek, very clean, and just easy to implement and use within a company. And I'm sure you got to get positive feedback. I would think from the manufacturers of the equipment that you've made it so simple, right? Or
Oh yeah. In fact, we've helped sell a lot of other brand products and helped in the transition from gas to battery by just solving that charging piece for a lot of our manufacturer brands, right? And I think the other key important piece of it is, if you just think of a single charger today, right? A single charger could be anywhere from 4 amps to 12 amps, right? And as battery technology keeps improving and more power and capacity gets held in these batteries, your chargers are going to be a lot more sophisticated, right? So you might have a charger that's a 12 amp charger, and if you have a 15 amp circuit in your wall, that means it's one charger per dedicated circuit, right?
right.
And if you've got a trailer with like 20 batteries in it, you're going to need a minimum of 10 to 20 chargers, or potentially 10 to 20 circuits to charge it.
Yeah.
Right. And what our appliance does is you just plug one 20 amp circuit into our PDM, or we also have a 15 amp version. And you basically plug all your outlets into our device, and we'll manage all those outlets. And the difference that with our system versus everybody else's out there, a lot of people just use a sequential type of switching system. We actually are measuring what's being drawn. So as your charging cycle goes to stage 4 of charging, for say, like a lot of chargers start out with a kind of a slow charge, then they go to a rapid high amperage charge, and then they drop off to like 2 amps at the last 20% of the battery, right? And when you're at that 2, and it's only drawing 2 amps and it's charging that last 20 minutes, typically that can take the longest time to charge a battery. So now you got a wasted circuit with basically 14 amps of headroom, right? It's just sitting there because now the charger's at 2. You could be opening up all these other chargers, right, to allow you to utilize the open headroom in your circuit.
Right.
And that's what our system does. It doesn't just queue it and wait for the next battery to switch, right?
I've got a question, if you don't mind, that came through. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not to interrupt you there, but I'm sure you're okay to take our questions that come through.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Said, are the bigger companies changing to battery because they see that it's the trend or the end thing, or do you think they're really seeing the benefit of switching over? So I guess that, it's a pretty good question, really.
Yeah, no, I would think that people might initially think that, but if you really dig down to the numbers, the ROI is definitely there. And you will definitely see an impact on the return on investment for the amount of gas that you spend and the maintenance and the time that's involved with your guys going to get gas, if you measure all of those metrics, there's clearly a return on investment benefit to go battery. Yeah. And not only that, what's happening is that you're getting a lot of clients that are now RFPing landscape companies to have this as part of the requirement. Your opportunity cost that you're going to miss for these potential bids.
Yeah, right? we've had some of those come through here with our business, here in Louisville, Kentucky, where they're asking, basically, are we using battery powered equipment? And how they go through and they rank. Yep. You're ranked, right? That's one of the things we gain points on is if we have battery powered equipment in our fleet.
Yes, absolutely. And, that was one of our aha moments for us is that, we go to all these HOAs and resorts, right, that have all of this. They don't want any gas on their HOAs. And, especially when COVID happened, right, where a lot of people were working from home, a lot of HOAs wanted to go 100% battery, right? There's a lot of resorts that want to go 100% battery, just purely from the noise aspect of it, right?
Right.
And what we've seen happen is, we go to these big resorts, we'll go to these big HOAs, and they're like, you know what? We're not going to deal with it. We're going to force the RFP on our landscape company, right? So now they're pushing that effort towards the landscape or making the landscape company solve that problem for them. So if that's the case, you're going to be missing out as a landscape company on these really unique opportunities where people are mandating and RFPing this requirement into the bid. So for any reason at all, why would you want to miss out on that opportunity?
Right.
And I think it's an opportunity that you have to measure too, and measure that opportunity cost if you don't have this as part of your solution.
Yeah, I think it's almost like the robotic mowing, don't you? I mean, where you just fit differently. And I think a company's going to have to, a commercial contractor like us and all the others in the country, and even municipalities. Obviously, I could see where municipalities with their own equipment, where they're not outsourcing the service at this time from, a contractor. I think they're having the same issues with fuel maintenance repair expenses. And
exactly.
Yeah.
So, one of the things that we do here at Gardenlands, the dealership, is that when someone brings in a broken down gas unit, right, usually a typical 2-cycle unit breaks down, we loan them a battery tool, and they come back and say, just keep the gas, don't repair it, we'll just keep the battery. And what happens is people start understanding the power it has now. I mean, there's more torque, and there's really a certain handful of tools that there's no reason to actually have gas, right? Like a line trimmer. Like today, a line trimmer, you get easily 2-3 hours runtime off one of those things with one battery. It has more torque and more power than your gas unit. There's no reason to have a handheld blower.
Are you saying, Mr. Ogawa, or are you all saying that it's harder to convert an older company like ours, for an example, where we've been in business 46 years, and when we initially saw battery, we saw inefficiencies in it, like anything, that it was new. And so it wasn't just the longevity of the battery. It was just the whole concept of battery and not having the power, the torque, or consistency in the operation. Are you saying that younger companies, and I'm not just talking about mid-20s, but, somebody say 35 and younger being more receptive, or where's that cutoff to where you guys see, hey, it's not a hard of a sell once we get past the cost side of it for.
I think, with the original, I like to call them the OG gardeners, right? Who are just out there and they know their equipment and they've used it for so many years. And they're so familiar with it, right? And I think that, the perception of runtime, the perception of the quality is not as good as gas and all that. That today is really out the door. I mean, commercial productivity and commercial performance is absolutely there. In fact, you can get higher performance and better efficiencies running battery tools on certain tools now than you would gas. And I think you're seeing the transition happen in by product, right? And I think that's where it's really, really important. Like blowers now are being forced to, because it's just the pure noise aspect of it, right? So it, I think landscapers are starting to realize I can get into battery without having to do the whole brand platform switch. I think that is the big mentality shift that's hard for people to get over.
Right.
Right. It's like just get started in battery. Like find the 5 tool or 3 or 4 tools that make sense to do in battery and make it part of your toolbox. Right.
Yeah.
Don't make it bigger than that. Right. And use our TOWA infrastructure or charger that you can just use it in a universal. So if you do decide to eventually go to a full platform, you can do it. And if you decide to switch, you're not going to have to reinvest in all of that. Right. And I think that's the message that I would say is just get started. It should be another tool in the toolbox. It shouldn't be any more than that. It shouldn't be about, hey, oh my God, what it's going to take and all this.
Right.
Look at it. There's hedge trimmers right now that can get 4 hours of runtime on the battery. There's no reason to have a gas one where it's blowing smoke in your face, right? Like, there's certain tools that it makes absolute sense to go battery, right?
Yeah.
And I think once you start adopting a component of that, and once you start seeing the missed opportunity costs that you have when you have clients that are wanting to go 100% battery, all of that will just make a logical sense in a transition to get involved, right, and to start. And I think that's what my big message would be to people is don't overthink it. Just add another tool in your toolbox, right?
Yeah.
And by doing that, you get started. You can start seeing the immediate benefits of it. When you start using battery, you get to all these other possibilities, right? Like you can start using the blower inside, right? You can starting inside the corners of your job sites earlier because it's quieter, right? You'll get opportunities to outbeat your competition because you can provide this solution for them, right? And I just think that if you just get started and you start scaling your business into it, it's a great way to just get going, right? And you'll immediately see the positive benefits of transitioning over to the battery product.
Now, with the TOWA system, okay, and how they plug into each other, if you will, based on how many outlets somebody needs or how many batteries they're trying to charge. The output capacity, you talked a little bit about that earlier. Is that the same for each one of them? I know you mentioned one's 15 amp, one's 20 amp, but when you plug, say, 3 Echo blower batteries into the plug, the inlets of that one charging station, if you will. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
How does the TOWA system regulate? How does it not blow the breaker?
So so we have proprietary technology in there that says, hey, this is the threshold of your circuit, right? Typically, it's 80% of whatever that circuit is, whether it's a 15 amp circuit or a 20 amp circuit. You're not allowed to exceed that, right? So we have a hard threshold that says don't exceed that. If it does, shut the outlet down. But what our system does, it measures. So that last unit that went over the threshold took 6 amps, right? And so we'll memorize that, and then we'll constantly do a scan every 20 to 30 seconds to say, okay, when that 6 amps of headroom becomes available, turn me on, right? So that's always allowing you to get the maximum amperage out of your circuit 24/7, right? Okay. And that's very unique and different because as chargers get more and more sophisticated, you're going to see a lot more fluctuation in these chargers. It's not your old school charger. It's a 2 amp or 4 amp charger, and you plug it in, and it just stays there all the time. These chargers will start at 2, go up to 8, drop down to 2 again. They kind of fluctuate up and down. 2, you maybe come at the end of the day, plug all your stuff in, and you leave the day thinking everything's good, but then your charger's ramped up and shut off your circuit, and you come in and nothing's charged. Right?
Now, does it also take and control that, Mr. Ogawa? Does it in other words, do they? Let's say I got 4 batteries plugged into one unit, one charging station. Does it get one to a certain level, then rotate to the next one, or are they charging them basically together, or how? Or
it'll charge it'll give you the full amperage out of your circuit. So whatever chargers you have in line or in queue, it'll open up the circuits and charge all those chargers. As soon as you exceed it, it'll shut all the other ones off. And as soon as there's open headroom available, it'll start hunting and memorizing the ones that shut off to turn them back on.
Okay.
So that's what's unique about ours.
So it really is plug and play. Let's see what happened to us here.
There's available. Have to start opening up all the other ones that need to do that, right? So what's unique about that is typically what we see is a 6-to-1 ratio. So if you were to need 6 dedicated circuits to do your charging, if you used our 1 PDM, you can reduce 6 circuits to 1, right? That's how efficient our PDM product makes it. What's nice about that is because you have to think about, you're going to have on-site charging issues when you come and charge everything when you come back from your job. And then you're going to have mobile charging issues, right? Where you may be out in the job site and you need to charge on the job site, right? And that's where you can utilize our PDM with our BPS, our battery powered system, to now provide you power on the go. So you have the ability to do on-site charging or mobile charging as well.
All right. So
right?
here's a question,
So
if you don't mind, real quick, before you go too far on that. Gentleman asked, he said, so I can charge my power tool batteries like drills and saws as well as a mower battery. And he gave an example of like using an 18 volt and a 60 volt on one charger system.
Absolutely. Yeah. If you look at our appliance, it's an outlet. It's basically like an outlet on your wall, right? So anything you can plug in an outlet in your wall, you can plug into our charging system. And that's the beauty of our platform. It'll allow you to charge multiple things. Like you may have, you're just like this gentleman said, drills and tools, right? From, a brand that's a different voltage platform. It doesn't matter. We'll plug in any 120 outlet that has a 120 outlet, just plugs right into our tool.
And how many of the, for you guys that haven't maybe looked at it yet online, while we've been on today, if you want to Google it real quick so you get an idea, it's TOWAtools.com, just TOWA tools.com. You'll see these green charging stations there. And a question I've got, if you plug 2 or 3 of those together, Mr. Ogawa,
yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And you plug, then that's going into a 20 amp breaker circuit, correct?
That's correct. Circuit. Yep.
So when it's going into that circuit, then even though I may have 12 batteries on that plugged into, 2 or 3 of those units, I'm still good on that 120 amp circuit.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. So the beauty of that is you plug everything through, you plug that one plug into that 20 amp circuit, and then and you plug everything into our PDMs. And our PDMs will manage all of that. So that's simple as plug and play, and then you can just add more units as you need more outlets. And then the next step of that, which is where I think a lot of people have to start thinking about, is eventually you're going to want to manage all that, right? Like you're going to want data on that. You're going to want to understand, hey, how much power am I actually using? How many of these outlets are actually on? How much energy am I actually pulling? Are there cheaper times to really start charging so I can get the benefits of the lower charge rates later in the evening? That's our new MCU, our master control unit, which can actually sit on top of that. And it's software now that basically helps you manage all of that, right?
Nice. So where you're not pulling on in the middle of the afternoon when it's 90 degrees outside and everybody's trying to run air conditioners and everything else, and you're paying an X number of.
You're playing the peak rate.
Yes.
Yeah. And that we think that's going to be more and more important down the road, because as more and more people leverage the infrastructure, more and more people are charging, or more people are converting, the only way that people are going to be able to manage that is by charging higher rates, right?
Right.
And that's where it's going to be really, really important that you have a system that can grow with you, that can eventually manage that, right? And be able to control that. And with our master control unit, you can then say, hey, I want to start charging at 8 p.m. Because that's when the lowest charge rates happen. But you also have to know, hey, do I have enough time left to charge everything I need to do? And that's coming up with a sophisticated charge plan. And with our master control unit, allow you to do that. And I think that's what people have to start looking at as they're looking at platforms, as you're looking at partners, solutions and vendor solutions that are out there. Make sure it can scale with where your business is going to go in the future. Right.
What about the guys let's say, we've got this system implemented in our shop, and we come back and we plug all of our batteries in, whatever that number may be. Okay. Yep. What's the recharge time? Does it depend on obviously how many batteries you got plugged into one 20 amp circuit?
Yeah, it absolutely does. It's really simple math, right? You got 20 amps coming out of, or 20 amps coming out of that circuit, and you've got X amount of hours per day. That gives you X amount of watt hours of charging or amperage of charging, and then you say how many batteries you have, right?
Okay.
Typically, what we're seeing on a 20 amp circuit, we have a lot of people using what we call a four stack or a three stack. That means three of our units stacked on top of each other, or four of our units stacked on top of each other, which potentially gives you like 16 chargers. Right
Okay.
now, remember, some of these chargers could draw up to 12 amps. So that means that you could have 16 dedicated circuits, or you can have just one using our TOWA four stack. Right. So the cost savings on the infrastructure is significant, right? And what we're trying to say is spend the money on our TOWA product versus your infrastructure. That'll give you more money to spend on your tools, right? And I think even if you've already made the investment, where you've converted and you've created all these dedicated circuits, our appliance is still going to make it a lot more efficient for you and cost effective, right? And so in any case, you want to have a power management system that helps you manage the power efficiently. And that's really, really important, so you don't overbuild your infrastructure. And I think that's one of the key messages that we're trying to get across with our product solution.
This is, I mean, it's just really almost like it's too good to be true on the technology that you guys have got to make it easy on a business, right? Or
Yeah, yeah,
municipality. It doesn't matter. As
yeah,
far as you're taking the guesswork out of it from the team that's responsible for charging the batteries of just, hey, plug these, plug it in the wall. And then I guess the complexity for somebody that's going to do a lot of batteries would be just either having uh, what knowing where those separate circuits are at, so you're not running
yep, yep,
and or having a few separate circuits ran specifically
yep.
for your power station, right?
Absolutely. So that, it's amazing. Like when you originally asked the question, is it the top landscaping companies or one, two truck guys doing the conversions? We got calls from top 100 landscape companies saying, hey, we dedicated a branch, two branches to go 100% electric, right? And we lease this building. For us we can't even bring in the extra power needed to charge everything. So that we'd come down, take a look at what they had, look at the power panels. All right, fine, we'll put in X amount of PDMs on your circuit. And we kind of reconfigured their layout, saying use these PDMs in these areas. And we were able to get 120 batteries in one branch charged just using our TOWA system, right? The amount of infrastructure they would have needed to invest to do that wouldn't even have been a feasible solution for them, right? And we are doing this every day with a lot of branches who lease their properties because they don't want and can put that kind of infrastructure in their building. And that's where our system is allowing you to do that. The other component of it down the road is going to be now after you've done that investment, right? I don't want to have to switch it, right? If I went to a different battery platform, well, that's the beauty of our system because it's brand agnostic and universal. You don't have to, right? You just plug the other brand system into ours and it'll work.
Right, right. I saw a picture of your all's field day where you had, you know, everybody and anybody that had battery part equipment was there. You know,
Yeah,
I mean, it
absolutely.
was, all of them. I mean, just without naming them, they were all there. And
Yeah,
I think that's what really is convenient and makes your product that much better, even is that, because contractors are bad about not being brand specific. I will say that. I
yeah,
mean, we're pretty good about it with our business, but we still have, a couple different brands,
yeah,
and
yeah.
I think you guys have certainly solved the problem for people from a charging standpoint. Let me ask you, if I could, Mr. Ogawa, on the portability charge aspect of this.
Yes,
Is
absolutely.
okay. If I don't have a lot of extra batteries per se, or maybe I do have an extra battery, is there any mechanism to charge in the field at this point?
Yeah. Yeah, so we have what we call our BPS, our battery powered system. And again, everything we build at TOWA is modular and scalable. So we start out with a 3,000 watt, kind of like a battery generator, as you want to say, and you can add 2,500 watt expansion packs. right? So you can expand and add these 2,500 watts as you need it. So if you want 5,000 watts of charging throughout the day, you just add one BPS and one expansion pack.
Now, if
And
you
now you
would
have,
explain that to me as a novice in electricity,
yep. So
does it mean I can charge what? How many batteries? I know, I guess it's the volts of the batteries, but if I'm replacing my 2 cycle equipment, okay,
yep.
uh, can I plug 4 in, 5 in? What's the chart before I have to recharge my portable unit?
So right now, the most common setup we see, and we put these into our trailer solutions, where we'll bundle our BPS with our PDMs. And typically what we're seeing is a 5,000 watt system or a 7,000 watt system, and that'll give you from 12 to 16 batteries that you can recharge, right? So that typically is what we're seeing work really well in 2-man, 3-man type of crew situation.
And that recharge time would be like what out in the field when you're getting your power through a battery to a battery?
A lot of times what we see when they come back at the end of the day, half their batteries are already charged.
Okay.
Yeah. So if they're running out there with 20, 22 batteries, by the time they come back, a lot of it's not half or 3/4 of the batteries are already fully charged. So when they come back, they're not utilizing all this infrastructure to charge at peak rates, right? When they come back at the end of the day, which typically is the highest charge time.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So
and then eventually what they learn is that, hey, maybe I don't need to go out with 23 now. Maybe I can cut it down to 15, right? And they start learning that, and they said, now I want more power on the go versus coming back. So let's just expand more packs, right? And that's the beauty of having a modular system. And you want something that's portable and modular, not some massive, huge thing, right? You don't want this, this thing that you got to crate into your trailer and it's stuck there and it can't be used for anything else.
Right.
Our BPS system can roll out. It just rolls out. It's a 3,000 watts, like a little rollover suitcase, and you roll it out. And you can use it on the job anywhere, right? If you have power going out at your yard, you can roll it. If your house goes out, you can use it as a backup power. There's a lot of versatility to that product.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I just wanted to add the other expansion that we have to our BPS is our new power vault system, which now is a locking container unit that you can store all your chargers and batteries in it. And it's all power managed with our PDM technology and our master control unit. So you can see what's going on in this vault. You can lock everything up. And that's the other big piece that people are missing is the capital investment in batteries is super expensive, but so is the theft, right? And these batteries will walk out and people can't control it, right? And our vault system will help you lock it and contain it, but it also contains it in a way that's fire preventable so that if there is a fire, if there is an issue, it contains it within our vault, right? So these are all really, really important things to think about as you're scaling and adding more battery equipment to your business, right? How are we going to store them? How are we going to charge them? How are we going to secure it and protect the asset management of it, right? Those are all the things you got to start thinking about as you expand and grow in the battery side of the business. The other things you have to think about is what are the transportation requirements? Are there going to be requirements on the DOT of me putting battery in my trailer? What are the insurance impacts that are going to happen if I now have more battery lithium on my trailer? Right. And we're trying to be ahead of the curve and solving a lot of those future issues that are coming down the pipe.
Yeah, that was one of my next questions was what does that do if you're hauling around that type of lithium battery content, right?
Yeah.
What does that do to it? Are we going to have to placard the trailers? Do you think that's going to be done on a national level, or is that going to be a state to state level? What do you guys think?
And these days it's really hard to tell, right? Like we have states going crazy, like California, right? And just making all these mandates, and then at the federal level, it's going to be a big issue when fires start happening. People are going to start wondering, right? And people are going to start mandating. Insurances are going to start dropping, right? And those are things that we've got to start solving now, right? And prevent them from happening so that we don't run into these problems, right? And that's my challenge is like, there's a lot of offshore products that are being thrown out into the battery world. And my caution to you guys would be don't invest in a brand that is a credible brand that's going to back up their product and is using an authorized dealer network to service it. Right. If you buy this stuff, off the market or overseas, and they're not investing all of this, safety into it, and it gives the whole industry a bad name, the whole category battery a bad name, right? So it's really important that you deal with a credible dealer network, or at least a manufacturer that is supporting the servicing dealer network, so they can take care of you and are giving you products that are high quality, and then they've invested in that safety component of the business, right?
Yeah, right. What does on the individual? I'm calling it a charging station. You know, where it's got like the five plugs on each station,
Yeah,
if you will.
yeah,
What is it on the far right side of it where it says not switched? What does that
yeah.
mean?
All we're doing there is that you use that to power the next unit. So
Okay,
you plug we have a power connector. So you plug it in that not switch one, and you plug it into the other one, and that'll make the two units work together without you having to put a separate power cord for each one.
I see. Okay.
Yeah,
I knew it'd be a simple answer. I just, in looking at it, I was wondering what the not switched is, you know?
yeah,
So,
yeah,
uh, how does somebody get your all's product? Is it through a dealer network? Do they order direct?
yeah. We actively use a dealer network. Also work through distribution. You can order also directly online at towatools.com. We also provide consultative services. So if you're a landscape company looking to convert and you want someone to give you an assessment, we go out and we'll do that for you on your site. So we can offer that service as well. But again, we have a lot of active dealers as well. We're looking for new dealers all the time. And so if you're interested, if you're a dealership looking to get into it, please let us know. We're also working directly with top 100 landscape companies, or any landscape company that's looking for help, right? Give us a call. We're happy to consult. We know it's a journey and it's a kind of a hard puzzle to figure out, but there's a really easy way to get involved. And you can start out small, and then you just grow it. Just make
Yeah.
sure you're working with a system that can grow with you, right? And not necessarily be this huge investment where you're going to do a complete changeover, right? And then you're stuck in it if you don't like it.
Right. And, that's something I would like our listeners to know too, and Mr. Ogawa, so, I mean, the company that I have, Profits Unlimited, we actually help companies calculate cost per hour of operation. And like you said, when you run a cost sheet, if you take one of our cost sheets and you run through a battery powered piece of equipment, you guys, I want y'all to understand that don't look at the price tag of the equipment. I know it's very important. I understand that, but you got to look at what is the time frame on that return, and how long is it going to take to make it make sense. And then too many times as contractors, we don't know what we don't know about where that's at. And so therefore we say, oh, that's too expensive. It doesn't make sense. But when you're not spending X number of dollars a month, I don't want to throw a number out because it's different for everybody based on the size of your company. But what I do know in working with contractors since 1990 with this is that once you understand where your true expenses are and where that return of investment becomes, I think you guys are going to see the battery equipment make sense. And now TOWA Tools has given you an option that says, hey, now I don't have to worry about having 75 different plugs all over the place, trying to make this happen and blowing breakers in my shop or at my home or in my garage, whatever size of that company, may be. So the upfront cost is going to be a little bit for you guys. Would you mind sharing a little bit what a basic system costs to, for a guy to get involved with your house system?
Like our TOWA system is $650. If you were to come in and hire an electrician to add a dedicated circuit, we're typically seeing that for over $2,000, right? So the investment immediate right off the bat is there. And if you think about for every charger that you would need, and let's say a minimum charger is drawing 5-6 amps, right? That means the max you're going to get is 2 or 3 chargers per outlet, right? In a lot of cases, some of these chargers are even higher now. They're like 8 to 12 amps, meaning you only get one, right? So you can kind of do the math there. Like if I had 6 outlets to charge the batteries I have, or just one, and it's going to cost me $650 to do it. Right. And that's how much our system is. Our BPS systems run basically $1 a watt. So if you need 5,000 watts, it's roughly 5,000 for a whole trailer solution. And then our power vault systems start anywhere around $7,000 to $10,000, and it's a complete locking system, and it's managed, and you can remote into it and get real time data on it.
And I know you guys have been in what 5 years in with the TOWA system, correct?
That's correct.
What do you guys anticipate the life expectancy of these things to be before you start, for something to be replaced?
For a battery or for our appliance?
For your all's appliance itself.
Our appliance, well, there is no shelf life on it, really. It's a pretty sophisticated,
So as long as somebody's not, how guys can be with equipment. But I mean, if this is stored in a location where it's not getting thrown around and knocked around and dropped and knocked off the shelf, these things are going to last a long time for you guys.
Yeah. I mean, we put an immediate 2-year commercial full exchange warranty. Anything goes wrong, we just exchange it for 2 years. And typically, this technology that we've been utilizing has been based off of old EV technology that's out there, or so it's built for being a much higher capacity in the future, because we know as the future goes down, the charging amperage is going to be a lot higher in the future. So we've already built it with a platform that allows us to scale at a much higher rate. So it can scale as the transition of the industry grows and expands in the battery world.
Do you see, and I appreciate your time this morning. You've been on almost an hour with me. I do appreciate your time. Do you see the industry, and just going back a few years, and this is nothing to do with batteries, but you'll understand my comparison. I'd like to get your opinion on. When diesel motors first came out, smaller for, 250s, 350s trucks and whatnot. Okay. Diesel fuel obviously used to be less expensive. Now it's went over the cost of other fuel. So here's what I just want your professional business opinion on, if you don't mind. And I promise we won't throw rocks or darts at you. As more and more contractors are switching over to battery powered equipment, do you think that we're going to see the more we build these things and the more we do it, do you think the cost on the equipment will go down, but the price that we're being charged for electricity will go up because of the demand potentially?
Yeah, I do anticipate that, because I think that we're going to be challenged infrastructure wise. You already see it in certain states, right, where they're mandating these changes, right, and we don't even have the infrastructure to support it, right? And so the more people are pulling, they're going to have to regulate it somehow. And the only way that I could see them regulating that is by raising rates.
Right.
So the ability to then be able to measure, understand, and control and manage your power is going to be even more important.
That's where the new aspect of your management system is going to be so important, isn't it?
Right. And that's why I think when you're looking at a system, make sure that it can expand as your business expands, right? And invest in the future, right? And our product roadmap is extensive of looking at, we're trying to be 5-10 years ahead of where we think the battery trend's going to go, and anticipate what solutions you'll need then, right? And have a system that you can keep adding to and growing with. And that's really, really important. And I think that when you're looking at a solution, make sure that it's got that perspective in mind.
I thought it was really interesting when I was watching a video on your all's website, and after talking to you for the last hour, I knew it would be solidified after talking to you, and I believed it just watching it. But it was when you explained TOWA, if you will, the definition being universal, permanent, and long lasting. And I think that is the selling point to us as contractors, or anybody that needs a power management, power management. Let's just call it that, because that's what it is, right? It's a power management system that you guys have developed and implemented and made available to the industry when you've got the confidence to know that, hey, it's universal, it's permanent, it's long lasting. What else could a contractor or a municipality or anybody that's looking at a budget trying to figure out, hey, where's my best return on investment? I think you
Yeah.
guys have hit a home run with the name and that honestly. And I mean, you
Yeah, well,
guys know it, but I mean, it was actually a selling point to me, honestly, with the
yeah.
confidence that you all put out with that. Just and I'm glad y'all included that into that video, as simple as it was, because it was
Yeah.
really cool.
Well, I appreciate that, Wayne. That means a lot. Look, people ask me, like, you're a garden land, you're an outdoor power equipment dealer. What the hell are you doing manufacturing? Right? There's just a need, right?
Right.
There's a definite need in the market, and no one was addressing it. And 4 or 5 years ago, nobody was talking about power management or charging.
Correct.
And then that never even came up, right? And yet we were focused on it, and we stayed focused on it. We stayed committed to doing that. We've had our product out there, 5+ years, longer than a lot of these other guys have had a power management system. So we know a lot of the challenges ahead of the curve, and we're trying to anticipate what those other things may be 5 to 10 years from now, right? And I think, our goal is to continue to lead on the innovation side of that, and to continue to partner with our manufacturers to help them sell more product, right? And that's what we want to do. We just want to help the industry, help our landscapers in this transition from going from gas to battery, and doing it in a cost-effective and scalable way, right? And that's what I love about our system. It's $650 investment. Get started, right? Start with one tool. Start with 2 tools. You don't have to overthink it, right? But make it another tool in your toolbox, and that'll grow and expand and give you other opportunities you may or may not have had, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And how to reach out to you? We're up on our time. Reach out to you. How somebody get a hold of your team if they're interested in more information about the TOWA system?
Yeah, just go to our TOWAtools.com. If you're interested in becoming a dealer, there's a dealer network number or link that you just push into becoming a dealer. If you're a landscape company and you'd like to get some consultative information, just send us an info through our website, and we can schedule something, and we can set up an initial kind of assessment meeting. We're happy to do that as well. And if you're a manufacturer looking to add this as part of your solutions, we do OEM our technology to our manufacturer partners, and we have done that. So we're happy to explore that with you as well.
Good deal. Well, hey, Mr. Ogawa, I appreciate your time. I'll let you get back to your morning out there in California. I appreciate you reaching out early. And not a doubt in my mind, you've been up for a couple hours anyway. That's just the way it is when you're the owner, right? And we get more done by 9 o'clock than most people do all day.
yeah, I hear you. Hey, I just want to thank you and appreciate your show. I love what you're doing. I appreciate that you're helping, other landscape companies, right? Really helping them. And it's a passion of mine. I want to keep landscapers going. It's in my blood. And so I appreciate what you do.
I appreciate you saying that. I honestly do, coming from a gentleman with your experience. We're doing it for the right reasons, like you guys are. It's because we want to see people succeed, be successful, and be profitable. And maybe we can work together on helping some landscapers understand the return on investment. I'd love to potentially talk to you about that. So,
absolutely.
But
have that conversation.
And Chris has been great to work with too. I want to give her a shout out.
She couldn't do without her.
It's like Katie here with me. I don't know what I'd do without her too, but Carissa's been great to work with, and give her a great shout out, and look forward to working with you guys in the future. And we appreciate you getting there on Turfside Radio with me.
I appreciate it, Wayne. You have a great rest of your day.
You too, my friend. Thank you.
All right. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. That was Mr. Richard Ogawa with TOWA Tools. And again, if you want to check them out, check their website out. It's TOWA Tools. That's TOWA Tools, TOOLS, just tools, TOWAtools.com. Check it out. You'll see the simplicity in it. And it really is just that easy. And I'm looking forward to talking to them more about their charging system as well. because, like Mr. Ogawa said, I mean, the reality of it is 15 months to 2 years is the range on a return on investment. But hey, sit down and figure it out for you, and whether you're a one truck operation or a multi crew company, I think we need to look at the future because it's here. It's here. Now's the time for each and every one of us to think about and how many times haven't you guys heard me talk about it, about what's the differentiator between you and your competitor? And this is something that I think is a certain differentiator. And like Mr. Ogawa said, and I've seen it here within our own market in Louisville, you're scored on some of the bids that you send out and on, your longevity, your company, and this, that, and the next thing, right? And when you come in and they ask you, hey, what's your sustainability model for not using fuel or electric products or however they want to do the verbiage with it, the reality of it is it's going to help you. It's going to help you. So help yourself, if you will. And again, reach out to TOWA Tools, straight to their website. It's the website. You pop it open, you won't have any question at all what they've got and how they do it and why they do it right there. So with that being said, we're going to let King Darren hop on here. We appreciate your time today. Appreciate the questions you guys sent in. And if you have any other questions, feel free to send them to me. I can get them to Carissa or Mr. Ogawa, and they are great people to work with, just like you heard him right there, free with all the information to help you make your company more successful, more profitable. And remember, profit is not a dirty word. We'll see you Friday. You guys have a great day.